right. Gemini, Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising, Gemini Moons too. If you are a heavily Gemini sign and you know it, you are welcome to this video. And if you're someone that loves a Gemini and you're curious about how Geminis are doing these days, you are welcome to this video. Thank you for watching. Let's get into the bonus reading for July 2024. Gemini Sun, Moon, Rising. Gemini, who are you? Well, you're ruled by Mercury. Mercury is a planet of communication. It is a messenger. Geminis, they have something very duality. Duality means a lot to a Gemini. Either you're finding your balance with duality, or you're holding them both, or you're choosing between. Gemini, right? Twins. Even the sign of a Gemini is two lines next to each other, held together. So that finding that balance between those two equivalents, those two different but similar options or entities, can be a Gemini's shtick, swag, style, theme. Geminis are curious, they're fun, they are adaptable, they're sociable, they're social butterflies sometimes. Even sometimes when they're, what's that word? Introverts. Sometimes even when they're introverts, I find that Geminis are, they're youthful looking. And I myself, I'm a Gemini rising, and I think maybe this is especially true for Gemini risings, but a youthful face, no matter how old you may be. You might be on the brink of 100, and somehow, some way, you may have all the wrinkles in the world. If you are a Gemini rising, there is some fountain of youth present in your facial expressions. Something about you. Very youthful, infinitely youthful. Witty, versatile, communicative, and yet with that duality comes some indecision. Can be an anxious kind of a sign. Because of that indecision can be some confusion, perhaps some inconsistency. All that wit can turn into overthinking pretty easily, actually. Okay, let's do your July 2024 reading, bonus reading. A lot of astrological interesting things going on in the celestial. Ooh, here we go. Let's put this here. A lot of interesting astrological things going on in July 2024. You have Saturn in retrograde. Oh wow, that came out in a perfect pile. Saturn is in retrograde all month long, and the minute that I mention that, you see what you see? The nine of swords, essentially. It's not the nine of bats, but the nine of swords is, and right behind it, the hermit. I'm not even going to look at the rest of the cards because there are way too many, but I am going to pull these two. Oh, don't look. I am going to pull these two. I'm going to leave them right here. I'd like to make some space for the reading. So I will, let's see, how can we set up the decks? How can we set these up? Maybe I'll do it like this. Just give it a little bit more space. So it's interesting that, as I mentioned, Saturn in retrograde, Saturn is moving backwards, or seemingly moving backwards, or for the entire month of July 2024, as I understand it. Granted, I'm just just starting to really learn astrology. I've been interested in it for a very long time, but I'm only just starting to deeply dive into it and really take notes, take diligent notes, and intentionally learn about astrology. So I'm not going to get into that fully now because I don't know what I'm talking about. But just in passing, right? For example, 2 Capricorn moons back to back. That's pretty rare. Something Pluto. What is Pluto doing that's like interesting? Pluto is in the sign of, now I'm forgetting. Oh man, it's in some sign that it only goes through this every like 200 to 300 years. Pluto is slow. Pluto's a slow little bugger. But, okay, stay focused. Obviously I'm a Gemini because I'm all over the place. There's that indecision, there's that confusion. Let's stay focused. Let's focus on your bonus July 2024 reading. We can talk about astrology later. How about that? In another video. How about that? So I think here what we have is present, soon to be future. Soon to be future, right? Near future. And here we have the past. Where are you now? Where are you headed? Where are you coming from? Where are you now? Gemini. July 2024. Yeah. There's something that you're tied to, and you know. The recent past says to me that you went through a process of, how shall we say, accounting for what you have done, where you have been, your behaviors, your attitudes, where it's led you. And now you're having to make some decisions, and you're tied. You are tied to some of these decisions that you, again, because you did the accounting, you know that you should let go of those decisions. The Devil card is what you're seeing in your present moment. The Devil is what you're seeing in your present moment. And that card, that card is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to look at in any deck, usually. It's kind of an obsessor. Which by what I mean by that is that when the Devil comes up, you are obsessed with something. And that's your devil, whatever that thing is. If it's a person, if it's an idea, if it's an actual substance, if it's a behavior, bad habit of some kind. I don't know what it is that you need to let go of. If maybe it is an idea or a person. Maybe it is a behavior of your own accord. But this judgment tells me that you know what it is. That in your recent past you did enough reflecting that you know what it is, and now it's time for action. Now it's time to unshackle. That's this message. And perhaps it stayed flipped down because you knew to some extent you didn't really want to look at this. But here it is. And you know what's interesting too is the Devil is number 15 in the major arcana. And numerologically, if you add 1 and 5, you get 6. And 6 in the tarot and in numerology, the Chariot. Okay, thank you, Chariot. Thank you, Gemini. We'll put that there. That's interesting. Okay, so the number 6, as I was saying before, the Chariot came about and showed itself to me, and you, and everybody. The number 6 is about harmony. The number 6 is about connectedness. Okay, in numerology, if you are a life path 6, you are considered a parent figure. a caretaker of some kind. The number 33, a master number 33, which also adds up to 6, is considered a master healer. So there's this integration that happens with the number 6. It's love. Love, that's why it's the lovers, number 6, right? So what's the flip side? The flip side of this card is connection. Not the judge, I'm pointing to the judgment, but love, connection. With yourself, with another person, with an idea, with nature. But that love is healthy. Now this is its polar opposite. This is unhealthy disconnect. That's what this represents. A disconnect that is actually ironically caused by a connection that is too tight and doesn't make sense. Too tight and doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. Keyword, it's not helpful. Daily Divinity, which is the channel that you're watching right now, I created this channel to be helpful. That was like, I'm trying to be helpful and throw in a little humor when I'm up to it. When I'm feeling spunky. But the main thing, the main value of this channel is to be helpful. The main person that I'm imagining, whether you are a Gemini or any other sign, needs that heavy dose of ability, needs that heavy dose of capability, of the attitude of I can help myself. These cards are a reflection. These cards are an exercise, a game that will help you, that will yield, inspire you to create that change in your own life. It's not that the cards aren't going to change diddly. If the cards tell you that you're obsessed with something, that there's something you're holding on to that you need not be to hold on to, that would be helpful for you to let go. And they also are telling you with the Chariot that you are in the driver's seat, or you can be. You can be. Right? You can choose to get into the driver's seat, take hold of that wheel, drive exactly where you want to go. Or you can just be in the passenger seat and watch whatever thing that you're obsessed with take over. Because those are your options, Gemini. In your near, soon-to-be future, it's looking like there's going to be a back to the reflecting board, right? Here we have judgment. Near future, back to the reflecting board. That's perfectly fine, Gemini. And perhaps your sociable self will feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. And perhaps that's why the 9 of Bats or 9 of Swords is coming up. Now, what's amazing to me that I think is notable is that there are four major arcana cards here out of 5. So 80% major arcana is insane to me. In any spread, in any reading. I mean, we will clarify, and I doubt it'll go any higher than 80%, but I mean, that's just statistically very unlikely. And when a major arcana card comes up, it very often means there is some really big life lesson going on. And I think big life lesson, again, this isn't an astrology video right now, but I am aware that Jupiter is in Gemini right now for the next year or so. And Jupiter in your sign, expansion. And so all these cards that are very expansive in and of themselves coming up makes a whole lot of sense. Let's clarify. Let's clarify starting with the 9 of Swords, or 9 of Bats. The 9 of Bats, I have a video on this already out. You can learn more about the 9 of Swords. 9 of Bats is an inspired version of the 9 of Swords. She's worried. She's worried and she does not need to be. That's this card. 9 of Swords. She's worried and she does not need to be. Worried and does not need to be. She is underneath her sheets and her head is in her hands. And if she would just look up, if she would just get out of bed, there's so many things that she could do. The Chariot. So far, this Chariot, Gemini, is saying more than you even know. If you don't know about the Chariot, look up the Chariot. Comment in the comments, please give me a video about the chariot. I don't know enough about the chariot. I need to. I need to. Signed, a Gemini or otherwise person. Let's clarify the Nine of Swords for you, Gemini. A lot of things came up. A lot of things came up. Oh, wow. Okay. A lot of things came up. Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords here. Four of Cups. Yeah. All right. Excuse me. Four of Cups. And the Judgment card again. So there's this circling back, circling back, circling back. And it's interesting. The 9 and the 4, very different numbers, and yet both of these cards are experiencing solitude. Different types of solitude. One solitude is a little bit anxious. One solitude is a little bit, maybe even grumpy. Perhaps assertive might be the better word. And on the clarifying, both of them seem to be clarifying the Hermit. What do you know? Reflection, clarifying on reflection. Can you tell that you'll be needing to go inward, Gemini? And for what purpose? More judgment. So, and you know, it's all for a reason. It's all for a reason. It's all, I think this is to say that you will take the driver's seat. Or even if you don't, life's gonna put you in that seat regardless, some way, somehow. It's gonna say, no, you actually do need to deal with this. And that's a great thing. And I think it might be uncomfortable, or at the very least, maybe not pleasant, not actively pleasant. These are not actively pleasant cards here. They're not, it's not a party, right? You're not getting the Sun. No, so far, no 10 of Pentacles. Maybe it'll come up, but so far it's in the soon-to-be future, near future, it's not much of a party, but that's okay, because sometimes what is needed is what is needed, is what is helpful, and is not necessarily a hoot and a half. It's okay. It's okay. Let's clarify the first Judgment card, where you're coming from. Let's go a little bit deeper, Gemini, where you're coming from. Okay. Seven of Swords, King of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. Clarifying your recent past. Seven of Swords. Some people call this card the Thief. I call her taking what she needs. I call her resourceful. If she is a thief, then she is resourceful. And if she is not a thief, then she is resourceful. So she is just resourceful. Now the King of Wands. The King of Wands is also pretty resourceful. He's using his power in a very chariot kind of a way. He's using his creative ability to look upon the place that he leads and do so with a type of solution seeking that is resourceful, that is very creative, inspired. He's responsible, but not to the extent that he is dry, not to the extent that he is, actually, she's a woman in this one. King of Wands is a woman in this one. Modern Witch Tarot deck. King of Wands. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? In combination with this, someone today, my partner, sent me Seven of Swords and said, I pulled this 2 times. And I was like, And he was like, And he said to me, I think this means I need to listen to myself. And maybe that's, okay. Maybe that's what maybe that's what this card is saying. That's the resource that you need to pull into, is your goddamn self. And Wheel of Fortune, I think what this is saying here is this ties into the Nine of Bats directly. Because if everything is spinning, and it could be any option, and in your present moment you're trying to gain control of the direction, then that tells me that there is some anxiety about where this is going to land, Gemini. Which is a very Gemini thing to worry about. So, the Chariot. I go back to the Chariot. Use judgment. Use judgment. Use this coffee-stained judgment to account, to go back, to ask really good questions about what you've done, where you've been, how did it serve you, was it useful? Keep going back to that. Is it helpful or is it not? That voice inside my head, is it helpful to me? If not, don't listen to it, let it go. If it is, use it. Keep going down that path. Gemini, I'm going to finish this off clarifying the Chariot for you with a card from the Vimala Rogers alphabet deck, handwriting deck. I don't even really know if it's a deck or not, actually. It's a bunch of cards with letters on them, and each of the letters have a powerful association, a powerful energy to them, each of the letters, in the particular way that they're shaped and written. Okay, we got Y, so let's put it here. Let's put it here. Okay, Y. Why? I saw this meme once that was hilarious, cracked me right up. All it said was, why grape, why? I have not found it. To my tiny little audience, if you know what meme I'm talking about, let me know. Shout it out in the comments. Why? Self-acknowledgement. That's what this says here. Self-acknowledgement. Why? I speak of my talents with joy and gratitude. Wow. This letter, the letter Y, is about holding your self-worth so that you can be helpful. I go back to this idea of being helpful. Because what's important is not that you are nice. Yes, it's wonderful. Yes, it's helpful to a certain extent. But what's really, really helpful is to be helpful. I've read numerous articles about this, and I've heard numerous people anecdotally tell me, yeah, were they helpful, right? I speak of my talents with joy and gratitude, knowing who you are, knowing what you're capable of. This goes back to the King of Wands. That's perhaps why this card came up, because when you're listening to yourself and tapping into that energy and taking what you need and being resourceful and using those resources that you've already got, it takes some King of Wands to do a proper inventory and to really utilize it. Take that inventory and then turn it into something. Actualize it. And that King of Wands is tied into this Y. So use the King of Wands to do some judgment, to do some Seven of Swords, to figure out where this Wheel of Fortune is going to land in a way that is charioting. Chariot the shit out of your life, Gemini. Okay? And know your worth. Know how amazing you are. Acknowledge yourself. That's how you're going to drive forward. Stay divine. Please like, please subscribe, please comment. It lets me know to keep doing this. This was your July bonus reading for July 2024. Thank you so much.